Dzień dobry, bonjour. So I keep going to speak English, I'm sorry for that. So I have noticed yesterday one measure point is change the paradigm. So we try to keep going for this session, and I will try to show you an example in France, close to Paris, with a very good solution, and he has been proved after 5 months floods the efficiency of this solution, and I will try to present this because it could be a good solution also to practice here in Poland, for example. So firstly, just briefly, we are in Europe, and don't forget, we have in Europe a regulation for floods prevention, and this has been started 10 years ago. And in France, the translation for this regulation made point on two main factors. The first is the creation of a financial tool to do the action. Where is the pointer? Here. Just a financial to create a finance support for the main program of action. So this is very important because we don't talk so much about the financial model, but to prevent the floods and to go against floods and to have solution, we need also a financial model for investment and for management. The second interesting translation in France is in fact the creation of this legal skill called GEMAPI in France. It just this financial support translate from the government to the local authority. It's like a tax, so you can say a tax, it's again a tax, but in fact it's become to be directly in charge of support all the investment and the management for floods. So the solution that I would like to talk today is an interesting situation around the river Bievre. It's in southwest part of Paris, if you know, and the Bievre river goes through Paris underground, and in fact this river is very occupied by urbanization and is channeled in along 35 kilometers of water course. One thing is also interesting in this river, is the fact that you have some rivers. This is a main river, and also you have some basin. And we talk about change of paradigm, and we are going to check how we can change the paradigm to prevent the floods. So, firstly, as a key of the success to try a solution against floods is finally to have a shock. And here in 1982, there is a big floods in this river and for inhabitants. And one morning, the local authority, they were all together for few cities concerning by these floods, and they said, never more, not anymore, we have to do something. And there was a strong will from the local authority. And this is very important to try to find a good solution. So what is this solution? We have 3 main plans of action to try to do a mitigation of these floods and just close to Paris. The first main of action is to create, and it's logical, it's to create new storage of basin. The second action, important, is to install and to set up some equipment for regulation of hydraulic water flow and rainwater flow, and some props to survey and to anticipate the situation. And the third is to put all the system until automatic and automatic and remote management for the hydraulic and for the forecast weather control. So if we go through this program of solution, here you can see all the main river and some basin. One first point of the key success, according to the change of paradigms, we are not going to follow and treat the hydraulic water flow as usual, step by step, from the hub to the downstream, but we are going to change and to avoid and to cancel this permanent body of water, to give more storage capacity of water. So this is the first change of paradigm, very important for hydraulic experts. So as you can see here, we cancel the permanent body of water, and we restore also, as a beneficial indirect, we restore the biodiversity around, and you increase the capacity. So this is the first interest and the first action to start the process. The second, as I told you, we need to put instrumentation to find the critical point along the watercourse river. So we need to understand exactly what we can do. So as I told you, we are going to change the second change of paradigm. We are going to change the control and the management of the water flow. And in fact, we are going to equip some valve, motorized, to, I could say, to play with the permanent water plan and to corrige from the downstream and not from the upstream. Usually, the classical hydraulic, to do the regulation, we go from the up to the down. And with this system, we are go exactly in the opposite side. So we install the probes and the valve at each critical point between two basins, and we are going to put the system under control. So this is the zoom example for the mechanism from valve motorized, and this allows to arrange and to control the new manage that we want to have depending on the forecast. One of the interests is this, the volume gain is a very interesting third additional volume. And this is enough to reduce the risk of floods for the population. So, as you can see on the slide, so this is a river, this is the equipment, this is all the remote controls that you can see from here on the desk. So you don't need to be on site. And this is the second consequence of the action, is this is at the beginning, before you had a permanent body of water, and this is a new situation 1 year after, and it's now also a pleasant, attractive area to go straight around, and if there is a flood, you have an increasing of third capacity of volume of storage. So finally, we need to complete the system with a centralized system. Here, you have a central command, you have all the small control for each probe along the river and each valve monitored that you can see before, and we control all together the system. Finally, so this is to show you what is it. It's exactly if I am in my office and in a dry condition. So it's important also, and we control. And if there is any problem, we send some technician to check on site. So as an example, last year, so here's the situation, and here is the situation after the last flood in Paris. And in Paris, there was many damage 2 years ago. And here, it was completely clear. This is a high level during the flood. nothing, no problem for inhabitants and for damage. So this is in a real situation. So the control of the probe, the control of the remote to control the level and the water flow, and which is the situation, this is the situation for the last day in May in 16th, and it was the last largest flood in Paris for 1 month, and there was nothing here in the Bievre. For the curve, here it was the level of the increasing flood, and as you can see here, this is only a very little overflow around the river, and we avoid a big flow. Another control is here you can control the level of the storage basin, and of course you can see after a rainfall, and when we operate all together, you can manage the flow and the overflow. So finally, we have to complete with the historical to all the time improve the system, because with the climate change, it's a big variability and intensivity. So, and we control 24 hours a day, and we create also some simulation. This is the last increasing for the system, is a forecast with the French National Institute, Météo France, in charge of the forecast, and we improve the use of the satellite to precise the condition of forecast weather. So as you can see, the around area, around Paris, and here is a zoom just over the Bievre River. So after, you can follow the forecast area and the alert that we can directly transfer on your mobile phone to the inhabitants to prevent the inhabitants if there is any new risk for the floods. So as a conclusion, in fact, two main keys of the success is, firstly, we need to have a largest scale of view to understand the situation along the river that I call the vision of the eagle when you go through the largest area. And also, we need to find, like a turtle, some robust equipment, very easy to control, very easy to operate, and all the system has to be in a sustainable financial model. Thank you so much.